Rachaad White will be playing tomorrow. Now, I personally get very worried whenever we have someone that is healthy at the beginning of the week, then downgraded at the end of the week. And typically, if that is the case, I try to avoid them almost regardless. Now, with Rachaad White, he has been phenomenal. Obviously, he is a great receiver. This should be a high scoring game. I mean, Underdog has his pick him at 84.5 total yards, which is one of the higher running backs that you're going to find this week. So I don't think this is a situation where I can say, oh, it's easy. Just bench him regardless. Probably, you're going to have to weigh your options. You are going to have to think about it. All I would ask is don't rank him how you would have if he was just 100% good to go the entire time. Like if you go through and look at our rankings from earlier in the week, before Rachaad White got downgraded, I would probably take that spot and move him a little bit lower as well, just because there are some reasons to be hesitant, of course. But I think that should be it. Let's go ahead. Let's start diving into some of these questions that we have here. Our first one coming out from Freddie saying, hey, Mason, it's a 10-team PPR where we need a running back and 2 flexes. Singletary, Kyren Williams, Devontae Adams, Rachaad Rice, Keaton Mitchell, Drake London. Thank you and good luck, fam. Smash the like. Thank you so much for stopping by, my friend. Here at running back, I will go ahead. I'll play Kyren Williams. A little bit worried about Devin Singletary with Dameon Pierce coming back into Houston. And then for the 2 flex spots, I'm going to go ahead. I'll play Devontae Adams for damn sure at one of them. And then I guess we will end up going with Devin Singletary at the other. With Singletary, I don't necessarily think that this is a running back that is a must-start guy like last week, where the volume was very much guaranteed, yada, yada, yada. But I do think that this is a player that you could start over like Drake London, right? It's still going to be a very good offense, even if he does split the backfield. Now, Phoenix says, Kyren Williams or Rachaad White this week. Really like this question, to be honest. I mean, like we were saying, with Rachaad White, this is a running back that I am probably going to be looking to avoid where we can. This may not necessarily be one of those spots, though. I think we probably will go Kyren Williams. Sean McVay did come out, and Sean McVay said that they're going to be a little bit careful when it comes to the Kyren Williams workload his first week back in. But sounds like Kyren Williams is less of a concern with his health than what you're going to have with Rachaad White. Now, with that being said, if you're looking at the underdog pick'em that you have right now of Kyren Williams, he is currently at 80.5 total yards for his more than less than. But it's a very good game going up against the Arizona Cardinals, of course. And, of course, if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% a positive match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, a Lamar Jackson special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard. But let's go ahead and find another question here. Eric saying, happy BR, Pacheco or Jacobs, and then Herbert or Fields. Thanks. Thank you. So Herbert obviously does have a very tough matchup here going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Justin Fields, I would say, is the better matchup. Justin Fields has more rushing upside overall, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I can go through and tell you to play Justin Fields over Justin Herbert, though. If you look at the points per game so far this season, I mean, while the Los Angeles Chargers have been disappointing, you still have Justin Herbert out there averaging, I want to say, about 21 points per game. Like, it is very difficult to get away from that. If it is a 6-point passing touchdown format, I'd probably go Justin Herbert. If it is a 4-point passing touchdown format, I wouldn't mind if you wanted to go play the matchups and take the rushing upside of Justin Fields. And then between Isaiah Pacheco and Josh Jacobs, not a massive fan of the matchup. Obviously, for Jacobs will be very tough going up against the Chiefs. I still probably take Jacobs, however, because we have seen time and time again what the workload looks like in this offense. We have seen that he is going to be pretty much locking up every single touch out of this backfield. Now, Levi says trade Pollard and Kyler for Cooper Kupp. We have Swift, JT Montgomery, Javonte, Kyren, Diggs, Ridley, Hopkins, Nico, Taysom, Laporta. And then any other moves, and who should we start? So obviously, we are loaded up at running back here. I mean, we are at a very, very comfortable position at RB. Now, with that being said, I don't necessarily know if we are in a spot where we are super excited to go through and trade Pollard and Kyler for Cooper Kupp. It does seem like you're probably not getting the best price tag here, if I'm going to be honest with you. I would say I'm probably not going to do this, just coming down to that price tag. I mean, if you're going ahead and selling Pollard and Kyler, I want a wide receiver that's like in the top 8, top 9 of the flockfantasy.com community rankings right now. I want someone that's a little bit more of a for sure thing. Now, Tingley says PBR Puka or Smith, then flex Pacheco or the other wide receiver. I'm going to go Puka over Smith, even with Cooper Kupp being good to go. Still think Puka's that must-start player. And then if it was a full PBR format, I think you go Devonta Smith over Pacheco with no Dallas Goedert. However, in a non-PBR league, you probably do take Isaiah Pacheco. But Tingley's, I'm sorry, we already answered that one. Rick Trifecta says, hey Mason, 2 questions for tomorrow. Stroud or Fields? So obviously a more rushing upside with Justin Fields, but honestly, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play CJ Stroud regardless. And then Downs or Mixon for my second flex. So Mixon, horrendous matchup. I'm sorry, not a horrendous matchup. Mixon, a horrendous offense here with no Joe Burrow. But if you go ahead and look at what you have currently for the projections in Cincinnati, one of my favorite pick'ems actually in the week is going to be Jamar Chase for more than 64.5 receiving yards. But outside of that, they actually still have Joe Mixon at 87.5 total yards and 12.5 fantasy points for his more than less than. I mean, that 87.5 yards is significantly higher than what you have with like Josh Downs, who I believe is over here at about 49.5 receiving yards or 48.5. So I think you have to go Joe Mixon over Josh Downs. Now, full transparency, I drafted way more, and I mean way more Josh Downs than Joe Mixon in underdog drafts this year. So I hope I'm wrong. I mean, we're going to win a lot of money if you have Mixon out there out producing Downs. I just don't necessarily expect that to be the case. Now, John says Derek Carr or Gardner Minshew for the Superflex. Let me go ahead and pull up the implied team totals that we have for these offenses again, just to get a sense of what the overall production should be. Obviously, this isn't just for the quarterbacks, they include the running game as well. And I'd assume that Jonathan Taylor monopolizes a little bit more points in Indy than what you're going to have with Alvin Kamara in New Orleans. Just give me 1 second to find this. Okay, so New Orleans applied team total of 21.5 points. You have Indy up there at 24. At the same time, we've seen Gardner Minshew now all season be a better option as well. So you know what? I'm probably going to go ahead. I will take Gardner Minshew over Derek Carr. Now, Rock Bottom says Tank or Chase. You have no Noah Brown, and I've been in underdog drafts all week, seeing how people are actually drafting these guys. And Tank Tails going ahead of Jamar Chase in pretty much every single one of these. Obviously, it'll be in a much better offense as well. The thing is, you have no T. Higgins, right? So if you have no T. Higgins in this game, I almost want to say, I don't care. Just give me Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is going to be absolutely dominant when it comes to the target volume here. So give me Chase. I know a lot of other people will say Tank Dell. And then pick 2, Mixon, Swift, and Flowers. I'm going to go with both running backs. Even if it was a full PBR format, I'm going to go with Mixon and DeAndre Swift While I agree the Cincinnati Bengals offense should be horrible with no Joe Burrow, I still think that Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase are going to be guys that we start, especially if you consider the fact that this is a game where you're going to have no T again. So they are just going to monopolize pretty much every single point there. And Ramsey says, full BBR, Connor, Hollywood, or Singletary in the flex. I'm sorry, this is Collins. So we don't know if Hollywood's going to be good to go yet. Damian Pierce should be active, and we're going to have no Noah Brown. So in my mind, I'm going to go with Nico Collins. And I'd almost do this regardless of if Hollywood's going to be good to go or not, because Hollywood falls in that same bucket of like Rachaad White that we looked at earlier, in that this is a player that got downgraded later in the week. So I'll naturally be a little bit more concerned about him than someone else. Now, Joshua says 12-team BBR. We have CMC, Lamar, Pacheco, Achane, Keenan, Mike, Pittman, Laporta, Charbonnet, Rasheed on the bench. Package Evans and Pittman for a high-end wide receiver 1. I mean, if you can get to a top 5-6 name, if you can get to Diggs, if you can get to A.J. Brown, if you can get to Amon-Ra St. Brown, then yeah, I would go ahead and do it. Obviously, that's going to be a task that is much easier said than done, however. So, well, I'll say, yeah, I'll do it. I don't know if you actually are going to be able to pull it off, my friend. I mean, I hope you can. I'm rooting for you to do it. But keep me updated if you are able to. Now, Everett coming out with the donation. Thank you. And then Carl says, start 2 this week. Full BBR. Olave, Chase, and Cooper Kupp. I'm going to go Chase almost regardless. And then between Kupp and Olave, it's a really good matchup for Kupp. I think Olave has a higher floor. Kupp has a higher ceiling. I'm probably going to go with the ceiling play. I'll probably go ahead and take Cooper Kupp, but I'll completely understand if you want to go with Olave. Now, Tank Tone says 10-team BBR. Allen, Barkley, Kamara, Lamb, Olave, Laporta, Jacobs, Kyren, DK, JSN, Puka. We traded Schultz for Herbert, then traded Herbert and Hunt for Jacobs because the guy lost Burrow. So we essentially traded Dalton Schultz and Kareem Hunt for Josh Jacobs. Great trade. Olave or Puka? I'm going to go Puka over Olave. Jacobs or Kyren for the flex. Very tough matchup this week for Jacobs. I'll still probably end up going Jacobs here, with that being said. I mean, with Kyren Williams, it would be different if Sean McVay came out and said, you know what? No limitations at all. We're going to give Kyren Williams 100% of his usual work. No limitations. He is fully good to go. Then sure, let's go ahead and let's fire Kyren Williams up. But we know what the workload's going to look like for Jacob, so I'm just going to go with what we know. Rock Bottom says Fields or Kyler. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. And I'm going to go ahead. I will take Kyler Murray here. I mean, maybe we can say if Hollywood does not play, if you have no Hollywood and obviously at the same time, this is going to be a game where you have no Michael Wilson. You can make the argument that the weapons will not be there and you want to go ahead and you want to take Justin Fields. But if Kyler has his weapons, I'm going to go Kyler. Eric says, Mason, at BBR, we need 2, 2, and 1. So essentially we just have to bench one player. We have to bench Ramondre, Jacobs, Kyren, Kupp, Dell, or Evans. To be honest with you, I'm not going to overthink this too much. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bench Ramondre Stevenson. If you look at Ramondre, not a lot has changed with the situation that he is in, and that he is still a committee running back. He is still in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. And he is still sharing his backfield. Jacobs is at least a 3-down guy. Kyren went healthy is at least a 3-down guy. Kupp has upside. Dell's been dominant. Evans has been dominant. See, I'm going to go ahead. I'll bench Ramondre out of that group. Judy 2 Tab says, full BBR, we need one for the flex. Thielen, Henry, Kyren, Olave. Thanks. Thank you. Full BBR format will be a little bit tougher. It is hard to get away from Derrick Henry this week, though. I mean, if you are looking at Derrick Henry, he has the best matchup you could ask for. Going up against Carolina. He's had some involvement as a receiver, even if it's not a lot. So one of the very few games where you're seeing the Tennessee Titans be favored. So I hate to say it, but I'm actually going to go ahead. I'm going to play Derrick Henry here. John says, full BBR pick two. Mixon, Godwin, Amari, Shaheed. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I'm going to go with Mixon and Godwin. I know it's going to be a surprise to hear Godwin over Amari, but I just want nothing to do with the Cleveland Browns offense if we can avoid it. Nobody says Nico or Edwards for the flex. If it is a non-PBR format, we're going to go with the touchdown upside of Edwards. If it is a full PBR league, I'm going to go with Nico Collins. Michael says PBR, all questions. 1, Ramondre or Jacobs. We need upside. I'm going to go Jacobs. 2, Herbert or Kyler. I'm going to go tough spot. If Kyler had everybody healthy, I think I would go ahead and I think I would play Kyler relatively easily. Because Herbert does have that brutal matchup going up against Baltimore, but it looks like Arizona's just decimated at this point. So with that being said, I think that we wait to see the news on Hollywood. We'll know by the time we need to make the decision. If Hollywood plays, we probably go Kyler. If you have no Hollywood, I'd probably go Herbert. And then Javonte or Keaton Mitchell, we're going to go Javonte easily despite the tough matchup. And then New England or Broncos DST. I'm going to go with New England's DST where the New York Giants have the lowest implied team total of any team in the NFL. Justin says, PPR, Kyren, JT, Etienne, Pacheco. Pick 2 to start. I'm going to go JT. I mean, if you look at these underdog pick'ems right now, JT has the highest total yardage mark of any player this week. The only guy that was higher than Jonathan Taylor with the projections this week was Christian McCaffrey. Taylor's at 106 total yards. And then outside of that, we are going to go ahead and we're going to play Etienne as well, who should have the 3-down workload in a very high-scoring game at the same time. Now, T-Law says, Mason, I just joined the flock. How do I get access to the Discord? So if you are a member of flockfantasy.com, you can find the Discord link all over the site. It's at the very top of the site on the banner. And at the same time, if you go to your account page, you'll see a button that says link Discord. So you can either link your flockfantasy.com account with our Discord channel, either through that top banner, just click the little Discord icon, or you can go to your account page and you can see the button that says link Discord, my friend. But let's find our next question. As I do this, if you have not done so already, ladies and gentlemen, please go down there, hit the like button. Today is day 212 of live streaming every single day in a row. Subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And of course, if you wanted to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% of pause and match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Lamar Jackson special pick'em more than less than half a total yard. But let's go ahead and let's find our next question. I believe this one coming out from K. Cullum says 8-3, 10 TBBR. Starting Kyler, Fields, Eckler, JT, Tank, St. Brown, Laporta. Start Kyler, Fields. It's a 10-point passing touch. 10 point. Oh, okay. Dear God. 10 passing yards equals 1 point. We're going to go Kyler Murray. And then flex Olave, Bijan, or Kyren. Hook 'em. Hook 'em Horns, my friend. And for that reason, we'll go ahead and we'll play Bijan Robinson. Really, I think Bijan's the best option regardless. Aaron says, Dell, Stevenson, Javonte, Higgins, Evans, Downs, Pierce. Pick 3, happy PR. Higgins is going to miss. Pierce, not startable until we see otherwise. We're going to go Dell, Mike Evans, and then between Stevenson, Javonte, and Downs. It's tough between the running backs. I probably go ahead and... Oh my gosh. I think you can go with either Ramadre or Javonte. I would say I want Javonte rest of season. But if you are looking at this week, Ramadre Stevenson does have a much better matchup. The implied team total is actually 19 for the Broncos and still less than, it's 18.5 for New England. So you know what? I'm still going to go ahead. I'll still take Javonte despite matchups here. Now, Julian says, start one full PPR, Jefferson or Risk or London or Davis. I don't think Jefferson plays. I'm just going to go London. I think London gives you the highest floor. I think Gabe Davis gives you the highest ceiling. Anonymous says Downs or Javonte, we need upside. I probably will go Javonte despite this being a horrible matchup. Jay Dollarsign says Nico over Pittman at the flex this week with no Noah Brown. Now, I'm still going to go Michael Pittman. If you look at the Michael Pittman projection on Underdog, it's like 70.5 total yards, one of the highest marks of any player this week. Now, Hassan says 10 TPBR. We have Lamar, Goff, Walker, Eckler, Isaiah, Kyren, Madison, Lamb, Waddle, Puka, Ridley, Lockett, Flowers, Kincaid, Ingram. Any moves? Also, who to start? I mean, if you really wanted to try to capitalize on some value from Kincaid, maybe you go ahead and look to do that since we have Evan Ingram. But ultimately, it's a very well-balanced roster where I feel like we don't really need to do much. We're going to go ahead. We're going to start Lamar, Eckler, Kyren. I'm assuming we already started Lamb and Waddle, and then Puka for the flex. And then at tight end, we will go Dalton Kincaid. I think both tight ends are viable. The reason I was saying if you wanted to see what kind of value we could get through trading one is referencing Kincaid, just because I know you're going to get much more if you try to trade away Kincaid than Evan Ingram. But our next search coming out from Can You Dig It says, start Pacheco or Adam Thielen for the flex. We have Mostert and Jacobs as my running backs, and Avonta Smith and Michael Pittman as my wide receivers. Full PBR format, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Adam Thielen. Non-PBR league, give me Isaiah Pacheco. But Thielen has given you such a high floor all season now. And if we already started Mostert, we're just kind of looking for the floor. Aaron says Olave, Thielen, Chase, Evans, Pittman. We got to pick 4. We're going to go with Chase, Evans, Pittman. And then between Olave and Thielen, that's where it is very tough. If you look at my wide receiver rankings this week, I had Thielen at 15 and Olave at 18. Obviously, you should have a better offense, however, in New Orleans. Now, ours says 10-team PPR. We have Allen, CMC, Mostert, Keenan, Wilson, Kincaid, Gus, Warren, Kittle, Godwin, Dotson. Any playoff advice? Thanks. Thank you, my friend. Great team, very well-balanced team. If we have the Allen Kincaid stack, I would probably see, especially in a full PPR format, if we could sell Gus and Kittle and go get someone that we're really excited about for our flex. Personally, it's probably what I'd be looking at doing. Now, Doctor says, start a non-PPR flex, Kupp or Mixon. Non-PPR, I will go ahead and I'll play Joe Mixon here. Eric says, Mason, I forgot to say I already played St. Brown the other day, so we can only play 2 out of these 3. Amari, Dell, and Evans. I'm sorry, this is Kupp, Dell, and Evans. I think that while Kupp is someone that typically I am looking to play, here there's no reason to roll the dice, and here you can just be very safe in playing Mike Evans and Tank Dell. Big Route says, Mixon or Kyren in a full PPR format. I think you make a strong argument that rest of season, you'd rather have Kyren Williams based off how bad this offense should be in Cincinnati. But for the time being, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to take Mixon this week until we actually see Kyren fully healthy. But Sean coming out saying, Pollard, Kyler, Brian Robinson, Ayuk, A.J. Brown, Laporta, Flowers, and Smith. Should we try to make a trade to get an upgrade at running back? I mean, if you really wanted to go through and send, say, Brian Robinson and Zay Flowers, especially if Zay Flowers is a big week this week, and go and try next week to make that move, you can. I'm trying to think here, my friend. I mean, I wouldn't be looking to do something like that tonight, but next week, especially if, say, Flowers is a blow-up spot with a banged-up Odell and with no Mark Andrews, maybe that is something that we can explore. But Steven says, hey, Mason, full BBR 6-point passing touchdown. Start Lawrence, Kyler, Fields. We're going to go ahead. I'm actually going to play Lawrence in a 6-point passing touchdown league. Most times it will be Kyler Murray. Just everybody is injured right now in Arizona. And then start to Ramadre, Javonte, Bijan, Madison, Singletary. Thanks, dog. Thank you. I'm going to go with Bijan. And then probably Javonte. I really hope Singletary is more productive than Javonte. Trust me. Really rooting for Singletary here. But the reality of the situation is it will be very difficult to go out there and assume that he really does anything until we see the split with Dameon Pierce. Julian says, we got to start one. K-Dot, Johnny, or Frymuth. For the love of God, Frymuth be the highest scoring guy here. But we can't start Frymuth until we see anything. I still think that he's worth being rostered another week. But until we see something, I think we have to play Kate Otten. Abraham says flex Amari Deontay, Singletary, London, or Rashee Rice. Here we can go Devin Singletary, right? Because none of those other guys really have shown us much. I want to tell you Deontay Johnson and send up that prayer that Matt Canada getting fired means that Deontay's going to do something, but it's tough to say that for sure. Now, Tony says, flex Olave or Ford. We're definitely going to go Olave over Ford. Really not too much interest in Cleveland, especially if the running back's splitting that backfield 50-50. Starting Gibbs, Etienne, Puka, Dell already. Oh, yeah, great team. Happy Thanksgiving, Mason. Thankful for you. Also, what are your favorite pick'ems this week? Thankful for you, my friend. The two that I keep on pointing out, one is in Cincinnati. I do like Jamar Chase for more than 64.5 yards. The other is going to be in Baltimore, where I like Zay Flowers for fewer than 71.5 total. So I like Chase for more than 64 and Flowers for fewer than 71. Obviously tough offense in Cincinnati. But when you have no Higgins, I think that Chase is just like a younger version of Devontae Adams in a tough offense. Michael says, I know you said if Hollywood plays, you'd play Kyler over Herbert. Forgot to mention we have Kincaid, Keenan, Puka. Played Amon-Ra St. Brown already. So if you played St. Brown already, I mean, it doesn't change too much. Yeah, I don't think this changes a lot here, my friend. The thing is, Herbert does have that very tough matchup. I don't know if we want to be doubling down against the Baltimore Ravens defense, right? I don't know if that's something we're excited to do. Now, Rob says, trade Fields, Olave, Javonte for Jalen Hurts. It's a contending Superflex team. Would be Hurts, Lamar, Kyler, Brees, Mixon, H.N., Keaton, Puka, DJ, Zay, London, DeMario, and Laporta. When you say contending, I'm operating under the assumption it's Dynasty. Javonte next year is far from a guarantee thing. It's the Jalen Hurts side. I'm almost positive we put this into the flockfantasy.com trade calculator as well. It will say the Jalen Hurts side, operating under the assumption that this is a Dynasty Superflex League. 44 MSU says, off topic, but if you like college baseball, come watch a game at Duddy Noble after Texas joins the SEC. It's the best stadium in the land. Okay, let me look this up. What's about this? I like baseball. I do not follow college baseball at all. Fun story, though. I did go to the College World Series because my youth team made it to the Youth College World Series, whatever the hell that means, in Omaha back when I was 13 or 14. But outside of that, that may be the last time I went to a college baseball game. Okay, so this is Mississippi State. How about this, my friend? I'm not going to promise anything, but I'll try to remember. Once we join the SEC, I'll watch them play Mississippi State, but I don't know if I'm leaving Austin to do it. I'll watch them from Austin. How about that? Do we got you there? Let me know what makes it good, my man. Let me know what makes it good. Now, our next question coming out from Mike says, likely or Cade Otton? We're going to go Cade Otton. RIP Andrews. RIP Andrews. Hopefully likely does well, but I don't know if we can start him until we see it. Now, Jake says, happy be our better floor play. Javonte or Ridley? Thanks. Thank you, my friend. I think Javonte gives you a better floor. It is a very tough matchup. PJ says, should we trade Adams for Olave for the playoffs? So if you look at schedules, kind of makes sense. If you look at the fact that the Raiders aren't really going to be playing for much, kind of makes sense. I think that this is a personal preference and it's going to be up to you, my friend. To be honest with you, I think this is a personal preference up to you. Alex says, hey, Mason, trade deadline coming soon. I wanted to know if we need to make any last moves or let it ride. 6 and 5 PPR, 4-point passing touchdown. Kyler, Diggs, Ayuk, JT, Bijan, Kincaid, Jacobs, Purdy, Lockett, Thomas, DeMario, Reed, and Goddard. So 6 and 5. We have good quarterback play for the long term. We have great running backs, great receivers. We have a great tight end, very well balanced team as well. I don't necessarily think that this is a team that wants to be making really any trades. However, I do think that this is a spot where you can make a pretty strong argument to go ahead and to drop one of the wide receivers down there at the bottom end, to drop Thomas and go pick up a running back off the waiver wire if we were rostering this many wide receivers on the bench. Now, Philip says, should we give up Kupp for Kyler and Pittman? Yes, you should. Especially if you have Baker and Tua. Yes, go ahead and get Kyler and Pittman here, my friend. Everett says, Mason, I'm sorry, my friend. Pick 2. Pittman down Smith. We're going to go Pittman and Smith. Or Gus. Now, full PPR, Pittman and Smith, not overthinking it. And then Stroud or Fields, we're going to go Stroud, even in a 4-point passing touchdown league where rushing upside matters a little bit more. And then another league, we got to pick 3 between Puka, Chase, Keenan, and Pittman. We're going to be going with Keenan, Chase, and Pittman, and benching Puka now that Kupp's good to go. Still love Puka for this week, but I mean, obviously, those other receivers are phenomenal. Now, Mike says, flex play, PPR, Hopkins, Kirk, DeMario, Douglas. We're going to go Hopkins. You have no Traylon Burks this week. Target share is really safe. Also, which defense? Minnesota against the Bears or Titans against Carolina? Playoff bound at 9-2. Thanks, Thank you so much, my friend, and congrats. So let me go ahead and let me pull up the spreads and the implied team totals that we have. Right now, you have a 4-point spread on the Carolina game with the Carolina Panthers with a 16.5-point implied team total. Looking at the Bears. The Bears actually are pretty high here. Where the hell where's Chicago? Chicago has a 3-point spread, implied team total of 20 points. Well, I would like to tell you to play any defense that's going up against Justin Fields. The reality is you probably want to go ahead and probably want to play the Titans defense here against Bryce Young. I mean, hey, I send up the prayer for the pick 6. Isaiah says start Mixon or Kyren and then Olave or Kupp. We're going to go Mixon over Kyren this week, and then we're going to be going with Kupp over Olave if you want the ceiling play. I do think Olave has a higher floor, though. I think the receivers are up to you. Rob says, not Dynasty, playoff redraft contender. Okay, I'm really sorry for misunderstanding, my friend. Just whenever you said contender, it makes me up a bit. So the team would have Brees, Mixon. Okay, so we still have more than enough firepower at running back, some solid wide receivers. If this is a league where it's a start 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format, then yes, I still think you can make the play. But under the assumption you only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex. Now, Michael says 12-team PPR single flex. Can we set the lineup? Lamar, Brown, Puka, Amari, Pacheco, McBride, Stevenson, Jacobs, Keaton, and then Brian Robinson on the bench. So obviously Brian Robinson already played, unable to go get him now. So quarterback, we're going to go Lamar, wide receiver, A.J. Brown, and Puka. Running back, Jacobs and Pacheco. For the flex, we'll go Stevenson over Mitchell. And then we will go with Trey McBride at tight ends. And you were saying you actually played Mostert already. So if you played Mostert already, we'll just go play Jacobs at running back. Everett says, also love your channel. Thank you for all the hard work. No, thank you so much for being a member of the flock. Thank you for coming out with us on a Saturday night. Now, Do Jazzy Jess says, happy BR, we got to sit 1. Puka, Javonte Smith, Jacobs, hook him. Hook him, my friend. And here I think that we will go ahead and we'll probably sit Javonte, given how bad the matchup's going to be going up against Cleveland. Now, Joe Sherman says, trade my Waller for a future second. Yeah, I'll trade Waller for a second. Obviously, you're not super excited about either piece, but I don't necessarily know what Darren Waller's doing for us. Now, Pot Snob says 12-team full BBR league. Start Rice over Chase. No, please start Chase. Or Devonta or Kirk with Hardman and Tony out. No, we're still going to go Chase, Smith, and Kirk. If you really wanted to pivot off one, you would pivot off of Kirk for Rice. But no, I still stay the course. Thanks, man. Appreciate everything you do for the community. Thank you so much for being in the community, my friend. Really, really do appreciate you. And Connor says, cover Olave. I feel like we've had this question a few times now, and every single time I kind of squirm and just go, I don't know. Because the answer is, I don't know, my friend. I think that Kupp has higher ceiling. I think Olave has higher floor. And what is interesting is, I mean, a lot of us should kind of know how our matchups are going, right? Because we've had 4 games played this week. So, I mean, you should be able to see the updated projection and know, okay, do we need to go through? Do we need to chase the ceiling? Do we need to chase the floor? Like, what are you needing to chase here, my friend? Now, Robert joining the flock. Happy to have you. Happy to have you. And I'm debating right now. What time do y'all think I should wake up to go live tomorrow? Usually we go live at about like 7 a.m. Central. I think now, though, so many people have already submitted starting lineups for the first 4 games. I don't know if we need to keep waking up at 6 a.m. on Sunday mornings. I'm going to plan on probably, instead of going live at 7, going live at like 8:30. So go live for like 3.5 hours rather than, and that's Central. That's Central. Just trying to figure out, Teresa, how long I'm allowed to sleep in here. But Peg Birdman says, start Kyler, Stroud, or Fields. I'm going to go Stroud. Flex Godwin, Hopkins, Addison, or McBride. Love the videos and the streams. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. If we knew for sure Justin Jefferson was not playing, I would go Jordan Addison. If Jefferson is ruled out, I think you go Jordan Addison in this range. However, if there's the chance that Jefferson does play, I don't want to get stuck with Addison. So instead, I probably just go ahead and I'll probably play it safe with DeAndre Hopkins, especially if you consider the fact that you have no Treylon Burks. So, I mean, the targets are guaranteed to be there. Now, Astro World says 4 points per touchdown. Do we start Joshua Dobbs or Trevor Lawrence? Dobbs has a good matchup. Dobbs has rushing upside. But for me, it's going to be pretty easily Lawrence until we get Jefferson back in. Once Jefferson's in, maybe we can pivot. And then how about Chandler or Jerry Jeudy? I have no interest in Ty Chandler. I'm just going to go Jerry Jeudy and set up a Prairie as a long touchdown. It's a very tough matchup, right? But I mean, do we want the backup, like the RB2 in Minnesota? That's neither guy is talented. I'm not interested in it. Now, Boofy says, full BBR, Edwards or Madison at the RB2 slot. I do kind of like the idea of going against the grain and taking Alexander Madison here, but I mean, we can't do it, even in a full PPR format. Based off what we've seen with Gus Edwards just being the touchdown scoring machine, you probably need to go ahead. You probably need to take Gus Edwards. Now, Connor says, for rest of season PBR, would you rather have Kupp or Olave? Rest of season, I'm going to go Kupp. Which is crazy to say because he's done nothing for a month. But at the same time, I think he has some solid excuses in that you have the Stafford injury and then his own injury. This could be something, though, that 24 hours from now, we are looking back and going, oh my gosh, I had a chance of getting out of Cooper Kupp for Chris Olave, and I did not do it. So you are taking on a lot of risk. And the true answer is, I don't know. I could be wrong. But I probably want Kupp. Now, Alex, happy to see us, says, Yo, Mason, hope you're doing well. You're going to watch the UFC fights next Saturday in Austin. Your boy will be there for work. Let me know if you need ticks. Okay. I would actually love that, my friend. To be completely honest with you, I do not watch UFC fights very often, but if I could go in person, that would be incredible. So I was not planning on it. Full transparency, I didn't even know there are UFC fights in Austin next week. But that would be badass. And I would love to go, my man. I would love to go. Just let me know where to reach out to you. Or if you reach out to me, let me know where to be on the lookout for. Brandon says, full BBR, Madison or Amari. Happy BR, Addison or Ridley. And I'm sorry to get off track. We'll go right back to that. I'm sorry. But I will actually, that is perfect because it's my girlfriend's birthday this week. And I got her comedy tickets for Thursday. She has a birthday party on Friday. And then I can roll in UFC tickets for Saturday into a birthday present. Oh, that'd be awesome, my man. Hopefully I get to meet you there. Brandon says, full BBR, Madison or Amari. So horrible matchup for Amari, right? Going up against I'm sorry. Actually, no, fine. I got it mixed up. He has the great defense. The matchup doesn't really matter for Amari, but he has a horrible offense. Addison, Ridley, give me Ridley. If we knew 100% Jefferson wasn't playing, I think we'd go Addison, but we just don't know right now. And then Madison or Amari, I probably go Amari, even if I hate it. Probably go Amari, even if I hate it. If it was a non-PBR format, based how bad the offense is in Cleveland, I'd say probably just want to avoid it. Now, Doctor says 7-4, 12-team non-PBR. Should we make any moves? We have Dak, Lamar, Eckler, Warren, Mixon, Spears, Lamb, Kupp, Pittman, Deontay, Spears, Ferguson. Mixon, someone I would like to get out of in a non-PPR format. And that even if he has the volume, now that you have no Burrow, the touchdown upside's not really going to be there. And touchdown upside is going to be the thing that matters most in a non-PPR format. So if I could take like Dak Prescott and send him with Joe Mixon and go get a running back that we're much more excited about, I would love to do that, my friend. Now, Pipe Down says, should we drop Hunt or Khalil Herbert to pick up a kicker for this week? Kind of my only option since I can't drop Achane or Goddard. Or I could not start a kicker. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to be dropping Kareem Hunt. I have a lot of Kareem Hunt in best ball, so I hope I'm wrong here. I hope Kareem Hunt continues to score touchdowns. But it's hard to imagine that the touchdowns are going to continue to go in this direction. He's just going to continue to randomly score these, especially as the offense is much worse. So you're a backup running back in a very bad offense. Not super excited about it. Luke says, Ridley or Ramadre in a full PPR format? Ramadre gives you a much higher floor. Ridley gives you a much higher ceiling. It's probably laughable to be saying it, but I'll probably go Ramadre against the Giants. I mean, they're 3-point favorites. Maybe they can run the ball. Teresa, always happy to see a full PPR for the flex, Pittman or Kyren. I'm going to go Pittman. I mean, if you look at Pittman, I just have really no hesitations here. I think he has the high floor and ceiling. Whereas with Kyren Williams, it can't hurt to wait to see him back in. Can't hurt to wait a week. I mean, McVay did come out and say that they're going to be a little conscious of how they're using him this week in particular. Now, Mark says, my running backs are Brees, Saquon, JT. We started Ayuk in Puka. Do I put Dell in the flex over Saquon? Ayuk already played for me. I would love to get Dell in. The reality is we probably have to go through, and the reality is we have to play Saquon Barkley. It's brutal, especially as you have no Noah Brown. So without Noah Brown, I want to be optimistic. I want to say he's going to crush. Daniel says, hey man, full BBR. Receivers are Chase, Diggs, Dell, with Jefferson on the bench. What should we do as far as Jefferson? With the Monday night game, should we feel set with Dell? By the way, happy late Thanksgiving. Happy late Thanksgiving, my friend. I think you should feel set with Tank Dell. The thing is, if you were looking at Justin Jefferson and you were saying, well, Mason, I think that there's the outside chance that he plays. Obviously, he has an incredibly high ceiling. If he does play, I want to make sure that he's in. If you wanted to say that and go, I'm going to roll the dice and play him over like Drake London, I'd say you do you, right? You can go ahead and play him over Drake London. Because if you get that wrong and if Jefferson doesn't play, what's the real downside? However, if you play him over Tank Dell and Tank Dell drops 20, especially with no Noah Brown, taking on a whole lot of risk to do that. So yeah, I would just go ahead and play Tank Dell. And then it does make sense for Jefferson just to take one more week off. The team's not playing for much. They have a bye week next week. And then hopefully we get him back for good. He's 100% healthy and 100% good to go directly after. Now, Angus says, Puka, Kyren, or Dell, we got to pick two. I'm going to go Puka and Dell and just be a little more conservative and wait an extra week for Kyren Williams to be good. With that being said, I mean, I think Kyren can crush in this great matchup, right? I think Kyren does have a very high ceiling, but I think all these players have a high ceiling, and you don't have the risk with the wide receivers with them coming back from the injury. Now, Corey says, full BBR, Kyren or Flowers in the flex? I'm going to go ahead. I will take Kyren Williams. Here we will roll the dice with Flowers. He's interesting. I understand where you're coming from, especially as you have the Mark Andrews injury and Odell Beckham is banged up a bit. But it's not like he's been great for a long time now, and it's just continuing the course. Now, we are kind of projecting Zay Flowers to break out. Like, let me go ahead and pull this up. Zay Flowers game log. What has Zay Flowers really done here? Zay Flowers over the past month. 19, 11, 73, 43 receiving yards. He's had 1 receiving touchdown all season. 588 receiving yards all year. So, yeah, I mean, I'm fine going through and I'm fine just playing Kyren over him. Now, Mercy says, Fields or Kyler, full BBR, sit 1. I'm going to sit Kyler if Hollywood misses, just because I'll have no weapons left over. And then I'll sit Fields if Hollywood plays. And then Hunt, Douglas, or Dortch. We got to sit one of these guys. I'm going to sit Dortch if Hollywood plays and sit Hunt if Hollywood misses. Danny says, full BBR, Adams or Puka. I ranked Puka ahead of Adams with the uncertainty that we had a Cooper Kupp at the beginning of the week, but I would take Adams over Puka now, but it's close. Robert says, how do you feel about Keaton this week? I mean, it's a good matchup. Underdog has more like 50.5 total yards, so I mean, I'm not going to fault you for wanting to go through and start him. I'm not doing it. I like his matchup. Got burned last week with Keaton and HN. Jumped the gun. Should have waited a week. Yeah, my thing is, and I'm sure y'all are tired of hearing me say it over and over again by now, but the HN situation, I was not hesitant. I was saying, okay, well, we've seen this guy be elite before. If he's coming in, great matchup, great spot, let's play him. But typically with like these rookies, you never get points, extra points for being like the first guy to start him when he breaks out, you know. You don't need to call the breakout. You don't need to start him his first week he breaks out. Well, you can always sit here and wait until Keaton Mitchell has 10 carries in a game and then start him the next week. And Keaton Mitchell hasn't really had that volume yet, so I'm really not starting him with confidence. Alex says, shooting you a Twitter DM about the UFC event. Besides that, we are 6 or 5 or better in 6 out of 7 leagues, plus killing the best ball. Thanks for everything. Thank you, my friend. Hopefully, you take down one of the best ball tournaments. This is about the year where I check in and see how my best ball teams are doing. We're doing above average in Best Ball Mania, not super great. We do have an above average advance rate. The high stakes drafts are actually killing it. But what I'm very excited about is I think it's going to get better since we drafted a lot of Jonathan Taylor. So I'm hoping since we drafted a lot of those Jonathan Taylor teams are like 5th, 6th right now. And hopefully they finish super strong at the end of the year. But A to Z, always happy to see it, says 10 deep Superflex, full BBR, pick 3. ETN, JT, Swift, Ramondre, Warren. Radio, ETN, JT, Swift, not going to overthink it. And then pick 1 between Jacoby, Shaheed, Shakir. Thanks so much, Base. Thank you. Tough spot. I mean, Shaheed, you have no Michael Thomas. If you're ever going to start Shaheed, this is probably the time to do so. Myers has had absolutely no volume since you've had the change with the coaching staff and the change at quarterback. Not going Shakir here. Shakir's just a prayer that he scores a touchdown. Oh my gosh. Let me look up the most recent volume that we've had with Shaheed. Nine targets this past week. I mean, resulting in 24 receiving yards, but still. Let me look at what we've had with Myers as of late. 1.525 targets. I'll go Shaheed over Myers. Don't feel super confident with it, though. I mean, I very rarely feel confident in anything that I say, especially that one. Especially that one. Timeout Sports, always happy to see this. Says, hey, Mason, need wide receiver help, please. Happy BR, start 2. Ridley, Hopkins, Rasheed, Jacoby. I'm going to be going with Hopkins and Ridley, even though Rice does look very interesting with the other guys being out in KC. And then should we drop Jacoby for Sheed? You're the best. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Actually, we were just looking at that, and I think it is up to you. It's going to be close, but I would not fault you at all if you wanted to go through and make that call based off Jacoby Myers over the past 4 games now, having a combined 13 targets. So he's averaging about 3 targets a game here. Joe made a turkey pot pie. Oh my gosh. You know what I used to be addicted to in high school? Now I don't let myself eat them, but I used to be addicted to, have y'all had the Marie calendar? Like they come in a little green box. Those chicken pot pies. It's the only chicken pot pie I've ever had. I've never had like a good chicken pot pie. I've only had like the frozen Marie calendar ones that you can either like throw in the oven for 45 minutes or like throw in the microwave for maybe it's like 5 or 6 minutes. I always did the microwave version. I wasn't patient enough for the oven version. But I'll tell you one thing. Those things. Immaculate. Phenomenal. Sam says, to BH, it's a good chicken pot pie. I need to go to like a restaurant and get like a legit chicken pot pie. Okay, let me know. Have y'all had the Costco, like the super big pan that they like pre-make? It's like a Costco brand. It's at the back of the store, you know, when they have all the trays of like food and crap. Have y'all had their chicken pot pie? Because I noticed like a year ago they put one out there and it's freaking massive. And I've been, Joe says it's homemade from leftovers. I'm jealous, my friend. I'm jealous. But I've been debating trying that Costco chicken pot pie. So if you've had it, let me know if it's good or not in the live chat. Eli says, start 2, JT, Bijan, Dell. Dell looks like he's going to crush with no Noah Brown. Most people would say to go ahead and play JT and Dell. I'm going to say hook 'em more. It's going to be hard for me to sit Bijan Robinson. I'm going to go JT and Bijan. So I'm going to go JT and Bijan. But it is probably consensus to go JT and Dell. Okay. Sawyer says the Costco chicken pot pie was really good. Okay, I'm going to try it. You convinced me, my friend. Jose says, big fan from Brazil. Thank you. Happy BR. Pittman, Olave, or Singletary. I'm going to go out. I'm going to play Michael Pittman. Really no hesitation with Pittman here. Solid matchup going up against Tampa. Wide receiver that has the efficiency plus gets consistent target volume as well. I mean, I'm excited to play Pittman here. Owned by CIA 3-8 in Dynasty, so it's full-blown tank mode. Traded Rachaad Pittman for Pollard, Ridley, and DK Mostert for Lamb. The Lamb deal is phenomenal. The Rachaad Pittman for Pollard, Ridley, we really have no reason making. Pollard and Ridley are guys I want to sell for picks in the Dynasty League. Also, pick 3 to start, DJ Thielen, Puka, Ridley. Sell DJ, sell Adam Thielen, sell Calvin Ridley. We're 3-8. We should be tanking. You know, keep Puka. We can build around Puka for the long term, but sell the 3 old vets. And if we were acting like we were trying to contend right now and we really wanted to score points, I'd go DJ Thielen, Puka. But the reality is you should probably sell a few of those guys. I mean, if you're 3-8, let's lock up future value and let's lock up good pick next year as well. But I think that's all we have for y'all with this stream, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up early tomorrow morning, answer some more questions as well. But really hope that we were able to help you out here in some way. Really hope that you have a great Saturday night. And yeah, thank you so much for everything. We will be live tomorrow morning. And if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog, you know you can find that link in the live chat. Promo code FLOCK, 100% of pause and match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Lamar Jackson special pick of more than less than half a total yard, all with code FLOCK. Brian, we will go ahead. We will play Chris Godwin. Jerry, I mean, we're going to go Chris Godwin or James Cook. Up to you. Up to you. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate y'all. Really hope you have a great night and hope I get to see you out tomorrow morning.